The war had burned across the stars for years. Humans and Thraxians fought on every planet they touched. Millions had died. Peace was only a forgotten word now. Captain Leon Gray, a human soldier, lay on the cold metal floor of the Thraxian warship. Blood covered his face. His arms were tied behind his back with alien chains that tightened every time he moved. The guard stall, black armored creatures with glowing red eyes, dragged him through the long hallway. He had been captured during a failed mission on Tharaz 9, a planet destroyed by plasma bombs. Leon had seen many battles. He had seen friends die, homes burn, and children cry. But this was different. He wasn't going to a prison. He was being taken to the throne room of Queen Saraxa, the most feared ruler in the galaxy. Everyone knew her name, K. She ruled with power, silence, and no mercy. Every human brought before her had been executed without a word. Now it was Leon's turn. The guards opened the large black doors. Inside, the throne room glowed with a dark blue light. Strange floating symbols filled the air. In the center, on a high platform, sat the alien queen. Her skin was silver, and her eyes glowed like twin suns. Long robe flowed like smoke, and she held a staff made of crystal and fire. Leon was forced to his knees. He raised his head and looked into her eyes. He was ready to die, but something strange happened. The queen didn't speak. She didn't lift her hand or give the kill signal. She just stared at him silent. Still, the whole room became quiet. Minutes passed. Leon finally broke the silence. "Aren't you going to kill me?" The guards looked at each other, surprised that he dared to speak. Queen Saraxa slowly stood up. Her voice was calm, deep, and powerful. "No," she said. "Not yet." Leon blinked. "Why not? I'm your enemy. A soldier. A killer." The queen walked down the steps toward him. Each step echoed like thunder. "You are more than a soldier," she said. "I saw your eyes in my dream." Leon was confused. "Your dream?" She nodded. "A vision. You were there, a boy, running through a burning forest. You stopped to help a dying bird. You cried when it died in your hands." Leon's heart skipped a beat. That memory was real. He was 10 years old. The war had just begun. He had never told anyone about that moment. How could she know? "How do you know that?" he asked, his voice shaking. "I don't know," Saraxa said softly, "but I felt it. I saw your pain, your kindness, your fear." The guards looked uncomfortable. This was not how executions worked. Leon stared at her. "You've killed thousands of my kind. What makes me different?" She looked away for a second, then met his eyes again. "'Cause I think you were there before, long ago, in another time, another life." Leon's breath caught in his throat. Was she serious? "This war is wrong," she continued. "It was built on lies. I don't know how yet, but I feel it. You are part of that truth." The room trembled, as if the ship itself didn't like her words. Leon said nothing. His mind was racing. Could this be a trap? Or was this real? Queen Saraxa turned to her guards. "Take him to the sky cell. Treat him well." The guards hesitated, then obeyed. As Leon was lifted to his feet, he looked back at her. "What do you want from me?" She looked at him one last time. Her eyes were not cold anymore. "I want to know why I remember your pain." With that, she turned and walked back to her throne. That night, in the sky cell, Leon sat by the window. The stars blinked outside like distant fires. His body hurt, but his heart hurt more. Why did she spare him? How did she know about his childhood, and what truth was she talking about? He didn't know it yet, but this moment, this strange act of mercy, would change the galaxy forever. And it had only just begun, Captain. Leon Gray sat quietly in the sky cell. The room was not like a normal prison. It was high above the Thraxian warship, with one glass wall showing the stars outside. A soft light glowed from the ceiling. The bed was clean. The food was warm. This wasn't mercy. It was confusion. He had been ready to die, ready to face the alien queen's cold justice. But she had spared him. Not only spared him, but remembered a part of his life no one else should know. A memory so private, so painful that he had buried it deep. How did she know about the bird? How did she feel his sadness? He couldn't sleep. His thoughts circled like planets around a star. Something was wrong, or something was hidden. Hours later, the door opened with a soft hum. 2 guards stepped aside, and Queen Siraxa entered. Leon stood up slowly. "You again?" he asked. "Why are you here?" "I had more questions," she said, walking closer. Leon kept his eyes on her. "That makes 2 of us." She stood a few feet away, her long silver robe shining under the ceiling light. She looked less like a queen now, and more like someone searching for something. "I need to show you something," she said. Leon hesitated. "Another vision?" "No," she replied. "A place, a truth buried long ago." The guards moved aside as she motioned for him to follow. His hands were not chained. It felt more like a walk than a capture. They passed through quiet halls and cold chambers until they reached a strange door. It opened with a hiss. Inside was a small room filled with glowing crystals and floating images. "This is the memory core," she said. "It's a place where our ancestors stored visions, thoughts, secrets." Leon looked around. "You brought me to your archive?" "Yes," she said, "'cause one of these memories belongs to you." He blinked. "It's impossible." She waved her hand, and one of the crystals floated down. It pulsed with light, then formed a large image in the air. It was a forest. A boy ran through it, the trees burning behind him. He stopped. A small bird lay on the ground, its wing broken. He picked it up, crying. Leon gasped. "That's me," he whispered. "That's my memory. But it's in our core," she said. "Stored by one of my ancestors over 1,000 years ago." Leon stared at the image, heart pounding. How could this be here?" "I don't know," Siraxa said softly, "but it proves one thing. We're connected." Leon turned to her. "Are you saying we've met before? In another life?" "Maybe not you and me," she said, "but your soul, your energy, your pain." He stepped back, trying to understand. "That's not science. That's something else." "Yes," she nodded. "Something even my people feared to speak of." Leon sat down slowly. "This changes everything." Siraxa looked down. "That's why I didn't kill you. The moment I saw you, I felt something. A voice inside me screamed not to do it. And now I know why." Leon stood again. "Okay, but if others find out to your council, your generals, they won't let me live. Okay?" "Already asked questions," she admitted. "They didn't know about this yet." Leon clenched his fists. "What do you want from me?" "I want answers," she said. "And I want peace. Real peace." Leon looked into her glowing eyes. "You think one memory can stop a war?" She smiled. "Just a little. No? But it's a start." Suddenly, alarms echoed through the ship. The crystals flickered. A voice came over the speaker, speaking in Thraxian. Siraxa turned to the door. "We have to go." "Now? What is it?" Leon asked. She looked back at him, serious. "Someone knows we're here." As they ran back through the halls, Leon's mind raced again. The memory wasn't a dream. It was real. Somehow, the queen of an alien race had carried it in her soul. This war wasn't just about planets and power. It was about something ancient, something forgotten. And now, that truth was waking up. The alarms kept ringing across the Thraxian warship. Captain Leon ran beside Queen Siraxa as red lights flashed on the walls. Guards shouted in the alien language, rushing toward the command deck. But Saraxa and Leon slipped quietly into a secret chamber below the archive room. Once inside, the door sealed with a heavy metallic sound. The lights dimmed. The room was silent again. Leon was breathing hard. Who sounded the alarm? I don't know yet, Saraxa said. But someone saw us in the memory core. It's not safe there anymore. Leon looked around the chamber. It was smaller than the last room, darker too. On the far wall stood a large metal door with ancient carvings glowing faintly. Saraxa walked over and touched the symbols. What is this place? Leon asked. She looked at him, her eyes serious. This is older than my empire. It's older than the war. It's a chamber passed down through queens for generations, a place of forbidden knowledge. The door opened slowly. Inside was a single large table made of black stone. Strange markings were carved across it. Around the table were old scrolls, broken weapons, and dusty relics. Leon stepped in carefully. Why are you showing me this? Saraxa walked to the table and placed her hand on it. 'Cause I believe we are both part of something bigger, something forgotten. Ski handed Leon a scroll. He opened it slowly. It was written in an old Thraxian script. Saraxa helped him understand the words. It told a story of a time before the war. A time when humans and Thraxians fought side by side against a common enemy. Leon's eyes widened. This says, we were allies. Saraxa nodded. Yes, long ago. But that history was erased. By who? Leon asked. No one knows, she said. But look here. She showed him an image on the scroll. A human and a Thraxian queen standing together, holding a glowing sphere. Around them were many species. T was not war, it was peace. Leon was shocked. This can't be real. It is, Saraxa said. Okay? Our ancestors tried to unite the galaxy. They believed in harmony. Then something changed. The records stopped. Suddenly, after that tonely war, Leon stared at the drawing. But why would anyone erase this? 'Cause peace doesn't make weapons, she said. 'Cause it doesn't bring power to warlords. Someone in history wanted to control us by making us hate each other. Leon's mind spun with questions. So, we've been lied to, all of us. Yes, she said. And that's why you're here. I believe your memory, your presences, a sign that the truth is trying to come back. Leon looked around at the relics. Why me? I'm just a soldier. Saraxa shook her head. No, you are a piece of the puzzle. You carry something inside. You something that can open doors I cannot. Leon walked to a corner of the chamber where a broken stone tablet rested. On it was a symbol that glowed when he touched it. Saraxa's eyes widened. Only the chosen can activate that. Leon pulled his hand back. Chosen. In our old legends, she explained, a human would return in a time of greatest need. A human who held the lost memory of peace. Leon laughed nervously. That sounds like a fairy tale. Maybe, she said. But you just proved it's real. He looked back at the glowing symbol. A strange warmth filled his chest. Something inside him felt awake. Suddenly, the door behind them shook. A loud voice shouted from the other side in the Thraxian tongue. They found us, Saraxa whispered. Leon grabbed a metal rod from the table. What now? She looked at him. Now we run. They escaped through a hidden tunnel behind the relic chamber. The path was narrow and dark. Leon followed her through twisting corridors until they reached a small escape ship hidden in the lower hangar. As they entered the ship, Saraxa activated the controls. The engines roared to life. Where are we going? Leon asked. To the last safe place I know, she said. A moon where the truth still sleeps. We must find the full story before the war consumes it forever. As the ship launched into space, Leon looked back at the warship, disappearing behind them. He had come as a prisoner now. He was a key to the past, maybe the future. The galaxy was changing, and the echoes of a forgotten war had just begun to rise. The stars outside the small escape ship shimmered like diamonds scattered across deep black space. Captain Leon Gray sat quietly in the co-pilot seat, staring out the window. His mind was heavy. Every moment since the Queen spared him had been strange. First, the shared memory, then the forbidden archives. And now they were flying together, an alien queen and a human soldier searching for answers. Queen Saraxa sat beside him, her silver eyes focused on the ship's controls. The silence between them was not cold, it was thoughtful. They were both carrying something too big to explain. After a long pause, Leon finally spoke. "Where exactly are we going?" Saraxa replied, without turning her head. "To a place even my council doesn't know about. A lost moon called Trellin. It's where the last true records of our ancient alliance were hidden." Leon frowned. "You trust the records are still there?" She looked at him. "I have too." They flew in silence again. Space around them grew darker. They entered an area without communication signals or navigation lights. "This part of space," Saraxa said, "is forgotten by most. But long ago, it was a meeting ground, a place of peace talks." Leon nodded. "And now it's empty." "Not empty," she said, "just buried." After several hours, a small gray moon appeared on the scanner. Hey, it looked lifeless, with deep cracks across its surface. But Saraxa smiled when she saw it. "That's Trellin." They landed in a narrow canyon. Dust flew around them as the ship settled on the rough ground. As they stepped outside, Leon looked up at the black sky. No stars could be seen from here, only silence, only stillness. Saraxa led him toward a cliff wall. She placed her hand on a symbol hidden in the rock. A faint light glowed, and the wall opened like a door. Inside was a hidden structure, old, quiet, and made of stone and metal. Strange vines hung from the ceiling. The air smelled like ancient dust. "This place hasn't been touched for centuries," she said. Leon followed her into a round chamber at the center. In the middle stood a tall crystal pillar, glowing softly. Around it were smaller crystals, each holding fragments of information. Saraxa touched one, and a hologram appeared. A recording from thousands of years ago. The image showed a human leader standing beside a Thraxian queen. They were speaking to many species in a large hall. "Today, we choose unity," the human said in the recording, "not war. Let stars remember our choice." The hologram ended. Leon stepped closer, his voice soft. "We really were allies." "Yes," Saraxa said. "And someone erased it all." Leon turned to her. "But why keep these records here? Why not share them?" "'Cause not everyone wanted peace," she replied. "Some feared it, some profited from war." Leon clenched his fists. "So they buried the truth and rewrote history." She nodded. "Yes, and made sure no one would ever find this place." Leon looked at the glowing crystal. Until now. Suddenly, a deeper part of the chamber began to glow. The floor beneath Leon lit up in patterned circles and symbols he didn't understand. "What's happening?" he asked. Saraxa's eyes widened. "It's reacting to you." Leon's body trembled as the light reached his chest. His mind was filled with flashes and images of battles, of old meetings, of ancient oaths between humans and Thraxians. Then one clear message appeared in his mind. "The one who carries the memory shall awaken the stars." He gasped. It spoke. "To me." Saraxa looked at him with wonder. "You're not just a soldier, Leon. You are the key." Leon stepped back, shaken. "But I don't understand. Why me?" Saraxa touched his shoulder. "'Cause history chose you. 'Cause your soul remembers what others forgot." Before they could speak more, an alarm beeped from Saraxa's device. She checked it quickly. We've been followed. Leon's eyes narrowed. Your council. She nodded. They want to silence us before we reveal the truth. Leon turned back to the glowing chamber. Then we can't leave empty-handed. They rushed to gather the memory crystals. Saraxa secured them in a small case. As they exited the temple, a shadow passed above the May-black ship, descending fast. Go, Saraxa shouted. They sprinted to their escape ship. Blaster fire hit the ground behind him. Dust and sparks flew. Leon jumped into the pilot seat. Hold on. The ship blasted upward just as enemy soldiers landed behind them as they rose into space again. Saraxa looked back at the moon. Now we know the truth, she said, and we'll make sure the galaxy hears it. Leon nodded, gripping the controls. The war was far from over, but the truth buried in stars had been found, and now the real battle was just beginning. The stars looked peaceful, but Captain Leon Gray knew peace was an illusion. Their ship moved silently through space, carrying the truth-ancient memory crystals that could change everything. The Raxian queen, Saraxa, sat beside him, her eyes fixed on the galaxy map. Her people were hunting them. Her own council had betrayed her, and the war was growing darker. Leon broke the silence. Where do we go now? Saraxa didn't answer right away. Then she said, There's one person I trust. A general. His name is Valak. If he still believes in the old ways, he can help us. Leon frowned. And if he doesn't, then we're running out of time, she replied. They set course for a floating Thraxian outpost near the Nabari Belta neutral zone in deep space. The outpost was hidden in a gas cloud, known only to a few. When they landed, a squad of guards approached. But Saraxa held up her royal emblem. The guards stepped aside. One of them led them through metal halls into a tall chamber. There stood General Valak. He was tall, with dark armor and sharp eyes. His face was unreadable. Your Majesty, he said, bowing slightly. You've vanished. The council fears you've gone rogue. Saraxa stepped forward. I found something we were never meant to see. She handed him a crystal from the case. Play this. Valak placed the crystal in the viewer. A hologram appeared, showing the ancient peace between humans and Thraxians. Leon watched Valak's face closely when the image ended. Valak stared in silence. This is dangerous, he finally said. Saraxa nodded. But it's the truth. Valak walked slowly around the table. If the council learns you shared this, they'll declare you a traitor. Leon stepped forward. They already tried to kill us. Valak looked at Leon. And who is this human? He was a prisoner, Saraxa said. Now, he's the key. The crystals respond to him. Valak's eyes narrowed. Then he must be protected. Leon relaxed slightly. Maybe they had found an ally. Valak turned to his guards. Take them to the guest quarters. Make sure they're safe. Saraxa smiled faintly. Thank you, Valak. But something about his voice felt wrong to Leon. That night, Leon couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the way Valak had looked at the crystal. The way he had spoken so carefully. Something didn't feel right. He got up quietly and slipped into the hallway. As he walked past the command chamber, he heard voices. Voice and another, speaking through a secure line. Yes, Counselor, Valak said. She brought the crystals. And the human. They believe I'm helping them. Leon's heart froze. She trusts me, the counselor asked. Completely, Valak replied. Tomorrow, I'll hand both of them over. Leon quickly ran back to the room. Saraxa, he whispered, shaking her awake. We've been betrayed. Her eyes snapped open. What? Heard him. Valak is working with the council. He's going to turn us in. Saraxa's face turned pale. We need to leave. Now. They quietly made their way to the lower hangar, avoiding guards. But as they reached their ship, alarms started to ring. Too late, Leon shouted. Guards appeared on both sides. Valak stepped forward, holding a blaster. I warned you, Your Majesty. The truth is not welcome in this galaxy. Saraxa stepped in front of Leon. You've lost your honor, Valak. No, he said coldly. I chose survival. Suddenly, a flash of light filled the hangar. Boom. A hidden ship decloaked above the man-old Earth-class fighter. It opened fire on Valak's guards. A human figure dropped down, firing with precision. Leon blinked. Major Dana. The woman smiled. Did you miss me, Captain? Saraxa looked confused. Who is she? My old second-in-command, Leon said. I sent a distress signal. I didn't think it worked. Dana helped them into the escape ship. We'll talk later. First, let's get out of here. The engines roared to life. Valak fired one last shot, but the ship took off, breaking through the hangar shield and disappearing into space. Inside, Dana turned to them. What did I just walk into? Leon handed her the crystal. The truth. And now, the whole galaxy needs to hear it. As they escaped into the stars again, Saraxa looked at Leon. We trusted the wrong man. Leon nodded, but the truth survived. And that means we still have a chance. Now, with new allies. Their mission was clear. Expose the lies, unite the lost history, and face the coming storm, because betrayal among the stars was just the beginning. The stars were quiet again. Captain Leon Gray stood near the viewing window of their ship, watching as a dark planet slowly came into view. It wasn't on any map. No trade routes, no colonies, just a silent world, floating at the edge of the galaxy. Beside him stood Queen Saraxa and Major Dana. Behind them, in a secure case, were the memory crystals, proof of the ancient alliance between humans and Thraxians. Proof that the war was built on lies. This is it, Saraxa said softly. The last archive. Leon turned to her. You're sure it's down there? She nodded. My ancestors built it to protect the truth, a place no council could touch, a place where peace still lives. Dana checked her blaster, and probably a place full of traps. Saraxa gave a small smile. That too. They landed in a deep valley covered in black stone. Cold winds howled around them. Strange ruins poked out from the ground, half-buried towers and broken statues. This place gives me chills, Dana whispered. It should, Saraxa said. It was built for memory, not comfort. They moved carefully through the ruins, stepping over fallen stones and ancient writing. Finally, they reached a large gate covered in glowing blue symbols. Leon stepped forward. K. The symbols lit up under his touch. Saraxa's eyes widened. It recognizes you. K opened slowly, revealing a wide staircase leading underground. They followed the steps deep into the earth. The air grew warmer, but the silence remained heavy. At the bottom was a giant hall filled with crystals, like stars frozen in time. They floated gently in the air, glowing with soft light. This is the final archive, Saraxa whispered. Each crystal held a memory. Some showed peaceful times, humans and Thraxians working side by side. Others showed the betrayal, the start of the war, the lies planted by shadowy leaders. In the erasure of history, Leon walked to the center, where one large crystal pulsed, brighter than the rest, as he touched it. Images filled the room. A council chamber, voices shouting, a vote to destroy the alliance, and then a warning left by the last queen. If war must come, let memory remain. Let the stars remember what leaders forget. Let one rise to awaken the truth. The image faded. Leon stepped back. It's a message. For me, for us. Saraxa nodded. You are the one it spoke of. The one who would bring the memory back. Suddenly, the crystals began to hum. A deep sound filled the room. Dana turned, alert. What now? Siraxa looked around. Things activating from the walls. Hidden machines came to life. Holograms of past leaders, scientists, warriors all, repeating one message. The truth must rise. Then the archive began transmitting data, beaming everything into space. Across the galaxy, hidden receivers began lighting up. On warships, rebel planets, and secret listening posts, the memories poured in. Millions of beings saw what was lost, what had been stolen. The truth could no longer be hidden, but peace always comes with a price. Outside the planet, several Thraxian warships arrived. The council had followed them. "They're here," Dana said. "We've been tracked." Leon turned to Siraxa. "We have to protect this place." She nodded. "Even if we fall, the archive must survive." They ran back up the stairs as the ground shook. Explosions hit the surface. Dust and fire filled the valley. Leon, Siraxa, and Dana fought their way through the ruins. Blaster shots flew around them. Dana covered the rear, taking down enemy soldiers. They reached their ship, but it was damaged. "It won't fly," Dana shouted. Leon looked back at the archive. "Then we stay and hold the ground." Suddenly, a rebel ship arrived overhead. The pilot sent a message. "We received the signal. We're here to help." Leon smiled. It looked like the truth found its voice. They climbed aboard just as another blast rocked the valley. From the sky, they watched as more ships arrived, human and alien alike, called, drawn by the truth. The council had lost control. The lie had ended. Back in orbit, Leon stood beside Siraxa. Her eyes shimmered with emotion. "You changed everything," she said. "No," Leon replied. "We did." As the stars glowed outside the window, the final archive's message continued to spread, not just across space, but into hearts, into history, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy remembered. Peace had a voice again, and it started with one prisoner and one queen. The galaxy was no longer silent. Every corner of space buzzed with one voice, one truth echoing from the final archive. The message had reached thousands of planets, millions of minds. What began as a secret, buried in the stars, had now become the greatest awakening in history. Captain Leon Gray watched it all from the command deck of the rebel ship Unity's Flame. The name felt right. After everything, Unity was no longer a dream, which starting to become real. Beside him stood Queen Siraxa, her eyes glowing with hope and fire. Across the main screen, transmissions played on loop. Thraxians questioning their leaders. Humans apologizing for forgotten history. And once enemies talking for the first time in centuries. "One message," Siraxa whispered, "and the galaxy is listening." Leon nodded. "But will they act?" The question hung heavy. It wasn't enough to know the truth. Now people had to choose what to do with it. Far across space, in the Thraxian capital, protests filled the skies. Ships flew banners of peace. Citizens demanded change. Council leaders scrambled to silence the rising tide. But the truth was too big to crush. A young Thraxian soldier, once loyal to the council, now stood in front of a crowd and held up a screen showing the ancient alliance. "We were lied to," she said, "but now we choose truth." On Earth, old veterans who had fought in the early battles came forward. One by one, they told their stories of strange orders, missing reports, missions that made no sense. Those broken pieces fit together, back on the Unity's Flame. Leon stared at a small crystal in his hand, the final part of the archive. He hadn't shared it yet. Siraxa noticed. "What's in that one?" Leon looked at her, his voice quiet. "A message from the first human ambassador. It was locked to a bloodline." "My bloodline?" Siraxa's eyes widened. "You're his descendant." "I didn't know until now," he said. "But it makes sense. That's why the archive chose me." He placed the crystal into the ship's projector. A hologram appeared, an old human in ancient armor, standing in front of a council. "Atia, if this message is playing," the ambassador said, "then the peace we built has been broken. But remember, this truth cannot be erased forever. One day, someone will carry the light again. And when they do, may the stars listen." The image faded. Leon's hands shook slightly. He knew. Saraxa stepped closer. "And now, it's your turn." The Unity's flame moved to a new position above a major broadcast station used during the early wars. It hadn't been used in decades, but it still worked. Leon stood in front of the main camera. Dana, standing by the controls, gave a thumbs up. "Ready when you are, Captain?" "Huh." He took a deep breath. Across the galaxy, screens flickered, stations paused, ships stopped. Leon's face appeared everywhere. He began to speak. "This is Captain Leon Gray. Some of you know my name, some of you don't, but I am a soldier, a prisoner, a witness, and now, a messenger." He held up the crystal. "This memory belongs to all of us. Humans, Thraxians, every race caught in this war." He paused, letting the silence settle. The war we've been fighting was built on lies. The truth was hidden, but not anymore. We were allies once, brothers, sisters. That's the history they erased. But we found it again, and we have a choice. Stay divided, or come together. The camera zoomed in slightly. This isn't just about peace. It's about honor, about remembering who we were and who we can be again. I was spared by a queen who should have killed me. I was helped by friends who had every reason to fear me. That is what hope looks like. That is what truth sounds like." He placed the crystal on the table in front of him. "Now it belongs to you." The broadcast ended. For a long time, there was silence across the galaxy. Then, something amazing happened. On planet after planet, lights were turned on in pattern symbols of unity. Ships painted peace signs on their hulls. Enemies met without weapons. New treaties were signed. New bridges built. Even the Thraxian Council, once powerful, began to fall apart under pressure. Some fled. Some confessed. Others stepped down. A new council formed. One led by the people. One that welcomed Saraxa and even offered Leon a seat. He refused. "I'm not a leader," he said. "I'm just a man who told the truth." Weeks later, as the stars shone quietly above, Leon stood at the edge of a garden on Saraxa's world. Children laughed nearby. The sky was peaceful, and for the first time in years, there was no sound of war. Saraxa walked beside him. "You never expected to change the galaxy, did you?" she asked. Leon smiled. "No, I just didn't want to die in chains." She laughed softly. They looked up at the sky. Now, the stars weren't silent. They carried a message. One message. One galaxy. And it had finally been heard.